It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to a special Dare episode of our podcast with Ryan Pack from Soundtrack Your Life. Welcome aboard, Ryan.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We can always tell when Ryan's excited because his eyes go big and he gets a smile. No, all you those listening won't see that, but trust me when I say it's true. Ryan, tell our listeners a little bit about you and your podcast and why we're so lucky to have you on ours.
So I host a podcast called Soundtrack Your Life, where we speak with guests about soundtracks that they are connected to or feel connected to. So Jim has been on a couple of times, and we love Jim. We recently had a Emmy Award-winning music editor who does music editing for shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Netflix one, not the M. Night Shyamalan one, and Only Murders in the Building, and we have, I believe, a soundtrack supervisor coming on soon. So we have a lot of cool people come on. But I mean, Jim's been on, and that's all you really need to know.
That is ultimately all you need to know.
Sorry, that's a selling point?
Well, I picked good soundtracks.
Fair enough.
One of Bryce's favorite movies of all times.
Yeah?
Legend of Ochi.
Ah, yes. So good.
So good. All right, well, Ryan has asked us to watch the 2001 movie, My Sassy Girl. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about My Sassy Girl right now. So, first of all, if anyone who listens to our podcast, you'll know that this is the least past lives film that we've ever seen until you get to the end, and then it is the most past lives film that we've ever seen. So one of the things that we like to do on this podcast is compare every romance film to the movie Past Lives. And I'm guessing, Ryan, is that why you kind of wanted us to watch this one? What was your predication as to why you wanted us to see this one in particular?
I wanted you guys to see it because, one, I know that you guys do not like the romantic comedy.
True.
That is very true.
But this is like a legendary romantic comedy in Korea. It was so popular, they tried to remake it in the States with, was it Alicia Cuthbert?
Wow.
It went straight to DVD, but they tried to remake it in the States.
Was it also called My Sassy Girl?
Yeah, Alicia Cuthbert and Jesse Bradford, whoever he is. Who the hell's Jesse Bradford?
Yeah.
Seriously. I don't know
who he is.
Yeah.
He's a made-for-TV actor, apparently.
By the way, now all I want to do is watch this remake just so I can... Because I know it'll be terrible.
Oh, yeah. There's yet to be a remake of any movie that's better than the original.
That's not true.
Think
that
of
is
one.
That is 99% true.
Can you think of one?
Don't put me on the spot.
Yeah, because there isn't one.
Nah, there is.
Ryan, can you think of one?
I think people like the Ocean's 11 movie.
Yeah, that's one of the worst movies ever made. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you like the Ocean's 11 movie?
The remake?
Yeah, I guess any of them, but in particular the remake.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
It's a fun popcorn movie.
I forgot Ryan does like rom-coms, actually. Now, didn't you also saw this on a plane going overseas, didn't you?
No, all those movies I can't find. This one I knew you'd be able to find, so I had to pivot.
He'd seen this one when he went on a flight, and he was like, "You have to see this movie." Was it also Korean?
No, that's The Killing Romance. That's a different Korean movie.
Okay. Well, the good thing is that here's the saving grace for you with a romance. Now, I'm going to tell you, this was not a rom-com. And the reason I'm going to say it's not a rom-com is because this is my definition of a rom-com. You have a stupid person, and then you have a very unlikable person who fall in love and then something bad happens and then they come back together and then they fall in love forever. In this particular movie, there's not one person in here that's unlikable. They're both very likable people. So at no point was I like, I don't like either of you, and neither of you are actually stupid. So that's why it doesn't make it to a rom-com. But what it is it's a romance film that is funny. So there's a big difference. And so choosing a romance film that is funny is a very good choice that you made. Plus, the second thing of that is you chose a Korean film. And Bryce and I both have a very big weakness for Korean films. It's just... Nobody understands horror better than the Koreans. Nobody understands family drama better than the Koreans. Yeah. Sometimes the Japanese, but the Koreans better than anybody else. And apparently now nobody can make comedy romance better than the Koreans. Because I don't know if we've ever seen a comedy romance from Korea, have we?
Not that I can think of. But.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head. But so kudos for bringing us a new genre to see in Korean film. I can tell you that this movie will never play on your podcast because it literally had the worst soundtrack that has ever been on a movie ever. And then...
Yeah, it's not great.
And then I started watching it. And by the time it got to the middle of the movie, I turned to Bryce, and you can jump in here if you want to agree. But I turned to him and I said, no, this is the best music I've ever heard in a movie. And then by the time it got to the end of the movie, I was like, no, I'm going to correct myself. This literally is the worst music that I've ever heard.
The music was inconsistent.
What was that one? There was one song in there that was like a boppity bippity one.
Yeah, that was killer.
That was killer. That one song was the only one that was killer. But, as we're watching this movie, you had me at, he was 7 when he thought he was a girl, and that his penis would fall off. And soon as he said that, which I think was in the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was like, I'm dialed in. And then when we see her on the train, and she barfs on that guy's head, and I'm like, this is the sexiest first time meeting scene of any romance film that has ever been made. Like, if you're not hot for her after she barfs on his toupee, and then his head after he took off the toupee, I'm like,
yeah, that was his mistake for taking it off.
Yeah, that was his mistake for taking it off. His head would have been perfectly fine. This was actually, other than him saying the word penis, which is still a pretty clean word. That's it's the biological word for it. This is a very rated G movie. Like, there's nothing that I don't think you could show a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old to. That's my thoughts on this movie. I think that the biggest problem that I had with this movie is the length. I think if this was an hour and 37 minutes, this would have been one of the best movies ever made. But, like I often say, every minute or every time something goes wrong that makes me not like the movie, a dollar bill comes off the table and they don't get the tip. So I found there was so many hilarious parts in this. There was a part in this where I laughed for 5 solid minutes. I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been the squash scene. I think the squash scene was when the squash scene came on, and every time he hit the ball and it went straight into his head, I just thought, this is the fun.
You're laughing pretty hard.
I was laughing so hard. And last night, Ryan, when I was over at Bryce's and we watched this, I had a really bad cough, and I was literally coughing at the same time as laughing. And I think at one point Bryce thought I was going to drop dead from laughter or coughing or a little bit of both. This is not like any romance film you'll ever see, because you have no clue what is going to happen. This girl is the most, I want to say, like at the end of the movie, what some of the things that said about it didn't sort of fit for me, in the sense that she seemed very confident. She would walk up to people everywhere, tell them what they're doing wrong. There's the point where she goes, "Why are you wearing that shirt? It's the same color as me. You shouldn't be matching my shirt." It was just like her personality was so funny and in your face, and he was so like a sheep, but at the same time he's going to school to be an engineer. So every single turn of it was like you could see why he was madly in love with her. Like I was madly in love with her. I wanted.
It took a while.
It took.
He wasn't.
He wasn't at first. No, he thought she was an alcoholic, and he didn't like people who drank. But I thought that you knew right away. As soon as he went and took her to the hotel for the second time, you knew he was in love with her.
It's an odd movie though, because they don't seem to really like each other through the first third, at least, of the movie.
Yes.
Yet they still end up with each other and she still drags him into her life, and it was so odd. It's like, why is this even happening? I was a little confused.
I was very confused, but it was a confusion that I really enjoyed. So, like I said, I would say now Ryan understands what our rating systems is in here. If this was an hour and 37 minutes, this would have been a Mondo for me. But because of the length and it did get draggy in the second part, I'm going to give it a meh. It's a high meh because I laughed for 5 solid minutes. That's almost, what's 5 minutes out of 137 minutes? It's a high percentage. It's like 7% or something, isn't it?
Okay.
Ryan, you know math, don't you?
That's very.
Did you take Chisholm Bob when you were a kid?
Chisholm Bob?
Yeah, it was a thing with your fingers with math. No?
No.
I don't even know what
maybe it was just a Canadian thing.
Apparently it wasn't, because I don't know what you're talking about anything. Apparently it's a freaking, were you from Manitoba or something?
I'm originally from the center of the universe. That's Toronto.
Oh, okay. But you weren't there long, were you?
I was there until I was 15.
Oh. Who's from Manitoba?
No one. I lived in Manitoba.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
There we go.
Yeah. I never listened.
5 minutes is 1/27th.
There you go. Perfect. So that's quite a large percentage of the movie.
Not really. That's under.
But
5%.
I laughed at a lot of things though. Yeah, this was I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was weird. I had no clue what was going to happen in this movie. And when then the end comes, I was like, this is the greatest love romance. This is like as if Past Lives was written in 2001.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, Ryan, tell us what your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I haven't seen this movie since probably like 2005 or something, so it's been a while. So I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to age well. And there's a couple of jokes that kind of made me cringe a little bit, like his blind date. I was like, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. I think it's a little too long. I think that they could have done the abandoned soldier thing. They could have cut that or made it a lot shorter. Because it almost feels like you get dragged into a whole nother movie for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But like you said, she's great. She doesn't even get a name in the movie. Like if you look up credits, she is just the girl.
But she was so the girl.
She was so the girl.
Yeah, so she is amazing. I think that the biggest reason that the U.S. remake didn't work is you can't replicate that sort of performance.
No. Well, and also Americans in general, because Ryan's American, but Americans in general don't know how to remake movies because they take.
Well, I'm also Korean.
Yeah. Right. So you should completely understand that. What I'm saying, they don't understand remakes because what made this funny is the awkwardness around it, and they can't do awkward very well, especially in that type of comedy. Like, there's certain nuances to certain cultures' films, and it really gets captured well in this. Like, we've seen a lot of comedies in Korean comedies, but just no romances. So they're the nuances are hard to duplicate for sure.
Yeah, and this kind of fiery sort of, you love her, but she's also a little bit scary. Like that's kind of like a archetype in Korea. I've had a crush on a girl like that before. She handed my ass
Did
to
you
me.
marry one? Did you marry one?
No, I didn't. I think you when you're younger you're really into that, and then you realize like you should perhaps for your physical well-being maybe stay away from that. But yeah, that it's kind of a Korean archetype, so that doesn't really translate well over to Western cinema. Some girl that is just feeling like punching you in the face because you decided to hug her and you were supposed to duck. In America, we just be like, oh, she's very toxic.
Toxic? I was in love with her. I wanted her to punch me in the face.
Right. And that's because that works in Korea. It works with Korean girls especially.
Nice.
But yeah, I do love the movie. I like her terrible screenwriting. I like that. They tell you what's going to happen in the beginning. Like you get the clues, and that's the greatest thing about writing when it comes to a story is that you need to make it look like when you get that big reveal, you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, of course. It's supposed to be like, oh yeah, the answer was there the entire time. But you're getting like all this misdirection from seeing him run around a motel room naked, or for him going on a blind date with someone who ends up being a man, and you have a soldier who's threatening to kill everybody. And so you kind of forget about this aunt who is trying to introduce him to a girl.
Until the end.
So when it does happen, you're like, oh yeah, that's why we're talking about the aunt. And then it kind of the reveal just puts you in that happy place. It's the magic of cinema.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. That. Bryce said, if he just wouldn't have taken that train ride and went to his aunt's, it would have been a really short movie. But he wouldn't have fallen for her at that time.
Yeah, and she wouldn't have fallen for him either.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So who was the dude? Who was the dude that was at the tree then?
So that's one of the misdirections, right? You're supposed to be like, oh, like, has he been waiting all this time for her that he's an old man?
That's what Jim thought immediately, and I just kind of shook my head. And then Jim realized like 2 seconds later that no, that's not him.
Well, let's see. It would have made sense
because all of a sudden she walked up.
Well, yeah, but I thought that she was actually one of the characters in her movie. Was in her movie, and that she was a time traveler.
Wow, you are
that was a misdirection they gave us earlier. She was a time traveler.
No, but she always comes back from the future.
Yes. Pay attention,
Jim. But
Jim.
that's what made the switch. Is because she could have went to the past.
Yeah. Whatever you say.
Yeah, I would agree. The
whole movie was misdirection. And it was there was so much misdirection that it kind of got tedious and annoying because you're watching the movie and you're like, what in the hell is this even about by the time you got to the fifth right-hand turn when you're supposed to be going left? And it's just like I kind of lost interest when I got to the very end. And then when we got the reveal, I'm like, okay, that was
awesome.
No, it wasn't because it was 2 hours and 17 minutes to get to that reveal. That was just that I was annoyed for like 2/3 of this movie because it was going nowhere.
Well, you know what? 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's true. But I did laugh. I mean, I can't get away from the fact that I laughed multiple times. I laughed hard a couple times. But boy, it's it's a tedious 2 hours and 17. Like, it needed to be so much shorter. This is a 90-minute movie maximum.
97.
And you need to cut out. I mean, I understand the misdirection because it's supposed to get you further and further away from what you really should recognize. But it's too much. It's just too much. Because you need the 2 hours and 17 minutes to put all this crap in there. And it's just too much. But they needed to simplify. They need to streamline this movie a little bit.
But they played racquetball. It was funny.
The racquetball was funny. There were some scenes that were funny. Don't get me wrong. There were also a lot of scenes that were just tedious. I did not need the whole dude with the gun, and it's like that was just too much. It is just like, how is this a realistic situation on any planet? Like, it just I couldn't put the points together there. It was
a Korean romance film.
I understand that.
Right, yeah, it's not a documentary, Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce, it's not a documentary. Thanks, Brian.
At any rate, it still ends up being a meh for me because I didn't hate it. It's not the worst thing I've ever watched, that's for sure.
That's true.
I genuinely cared about a couple of the characters, and she was great. No question that. She was fantastic in this. Really good performance. And to your point, yeah, they're not going to duplicate that in Yankee Land. That ain't happening. So there was no way that a remake in the States was going to do anything. So, yeah, no, but this was a meh.
Did you give this a Mondo, by the way, Ryan?
I will still give it a Mondo.
You know what? I understand why. Like, I can get it, especially if you would have seen this for the first time.
It's too long.
It is. It's too long.
I mean, I agree with you. It's a little too long. I think history agrees with you, Bryce, because the director, I think he made maybe one more successful film after this. I think she was in it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But she is like a superstar in Korea.
Oh, really?
Well, there you go.
Really? Like, so we must have seen her in something else. Because we see a lot of Korean films. We really do. Like, if it's a Korean film and we get it here, like, we get a ton of Bollywood films every week that, we just don't have time to watch them all because most of them are not good. But every single Korean film that comes into cinema here, we watch it. So I've said to Bryce, if the world changes and we can only get Korean films, then we'll just switch our podcast to being a Korean film rage podcast.
Yeah, unfortunately, she hasn't been in much since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be kind of part of what you missed. Why you missed her?
What's one of her biggest films that you can see? Do you get a lot?
So she did.
I was going to say, do you get a lot of Korean films in LA?
Yes. So my dad lives in an area called Buena Park, which is like the Koreatown of where the county I live in, which is right south of LA. So they always have Korean films coming out. And then, Koreatown and LA obviously will have Korean films. But she was in a movie called Il Mare, but that was before My Sassy Girl, and that was adapted into The Lake House with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves.
Right.
Which also people didn't like.
I rest my case.
So is she mostly romances then?
Comedy romances.
She's done some dramas. She's been in some horror stuff, but I think that might have been for TV.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of TV series. Just looking at her IMDb page.
You mean the Bible of movies, Bryce?
Yeah, whatever. One of the most inaccurate sources of information that
automatically signs you to their mailing list now when you go to their website.
Oh, really?
Good God.
I love evil corporations. I really
They're
do.
the best.
They're the best. Okay, is there any other things you should need to convince us or our audience about why they need to see My Sassy Girl?
In my opinion, it was kind of one of the first big Korean films to kind of make waves over here. So before Tarantino brought Old Boy over, like My Sassy Girl was doing the work. It was setting the stage for, now we've got movies like Parasite and, The Handmaiden and No Other Choice. And I'm not saying like they wouldn't have made it over anyways, but I feel like My Sassy Girl is kind of one of the first films to break through.
I think the real big one that broke through was Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
Totally.
Whatever. That wasn't bigger than Old Boy. Old Boy burst open the floodgates, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Put the argument.
Old Boy blew my mind when I watched that
I'm not saying the movie's not better. I'm saying...
No, but that's the movie that
okay,
absolutely...
look up the worldwide gross
for
of
goodness
Old
sake.
Boy and look up the worldwide gross of Train to Busan.
Why are we looking at the
Train to
worldwide
Busan
gross?
wouldn't have been able to do those numbers if
it wasn't for
Old Boy and
Exactly.
Oh, that's the argument you're making. I see.
Yes.
or Mother, movies like
Yeah,
that.
Mother's such a great film.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a good film. We consider him undoubted, by the way, Ryan. Like he's never made a bad.
Oh
film.
yeah, he's great.
Yeah. There's just too many good Korean directors, and we don't get enough Korean films here, so makes me sad.
I do have a funny story about Bong Joon-ho.
Okay.
So I was in Korea for the first time, and I'm riding in a car, and I say to myself, I should try to practice reading Korean. Like my Korean's not very good. I should practice reading Korean while I'm here. And the first thing I read is like a bus drives by, and I sound it out, and I go Paul Dan. Oh fuck! It just says Paul Dano. It's a poster for Okja.
Nice. Well, isn't Paul Dano, Quentin Tarantino thinks he can't act or something?
I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
Yeah, Paul Dano's awesome.
We think he's one of the best actors that have ever lived. I also think that Quentin Tarantino doesn't know how to direct anymore, but that's something
wrong.
Bryce and I will not agree on.
It's just wrong.
Just keeps rewriting.
Well, I do
the same
believe he has a lot of bad takes.
shit. Is that it? Who? You're
Well, I'm talking about Tarantino, not Bryce.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow.
Either way.
That's a given. Absolutely. Anything more from you?
No, I'm good.
Great. Well, Ryan, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you and your fantastic co-host and what else we can expect from you in the future, and tell us a little about all the good stuff about your podcast.
Yeah, so you can find Soundtrack Your Life at soundtrackyourlife.net. That is our website. It'll take you to the podcast. It'll take you to some socials as well. Or you can find us on Instagram at SoundtrackCast, on Twitter as well. Or on Threads. You'll see me arguing with Jim or agreeing with Jim. That's where you can find us. Like I said, we've got soundtrack supervisor Rob Lowry coming up. He works at Sweater Weather Music. They did the recent K-Pops film, so we'll be talking to him about that and what a soundtrack supervisor actually does. We just released an episode with the band Love Jones. They are on the Swinger soundtrack, and they were much more involved in the movie than just contributing a song to a soundtrack. So if you want to hear some behind-the-scenes stories about Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn before they were super famous, check that episode out as well.
It's awesome. I like to thank Ryan because he's turned me on to so many great albums, and he'll send me a message and go, "Hey, we just interviewed these guys. You got to listen to their music." And then I just add more good stuff to my collection because I get my feed from Ryan about his inside mind to all the cool stuff that's coming out, especially out of LA. So, yeah, thanks for that, for sending cool stuff my way.
Well, you're welcome.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for this special mini episode. Thanks, Ryan, for joining us. Please find Soundtrack Your Life everywhere you find this podcast. In case you want more from Film Rage, find us on social media everywhere at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com and send us emails to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. Dare us to see terrible movies to fuel our rage. But no matter what you do, please, 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 pretty please, 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 make us rage. That's it for this special episode. Thanks, Ryan, to finally getting on our podcast.
Yay!
Rage on!
Rage on!